And we're live, and Champ Chat's back. It's been a couple weeks, took a break after the ROC in Windsor. Had to collect some more champs in the world and have to hunt them down. Still have to hunt a few down as it is, but we're repeating, kind of like what we did with Daniel Joins. We're going to the recent tournaments, recent world champions, and we want to talk to them about their experience as world champs and how they practice. And who better to do it than 1/3 of the Apex Predators champions, Team World Champions from Heroclix 2014, Kevin Afrooz.
Hey guys, how's it going? Been a while.
A little bit. I mean, I think the last time we saw you on the air was right after winning when you were on with Brian Morgan, the Glass Cabinet.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you, Patrick, and Justino seemed to disappear off the face of the earth for a little bit. So what have the three dragons of Asgard been doing while we mere mortals toil?
I mean, Pat's been switching over his store, as you've seen, mainly to he made it smaller, just clicks now, and is online sales mainly. Justin's been working, and all of us have been testing. Dude, we've been excited because it's been 300 no tactics forever, and it felt like everyone knew what the meta pieces were. Now it's 300 modern, no one knows anything, and it's so much fun testing for this.
Yeah, I'm finding as we get back into tactics, people are getting really polarized, especially with the recent article posted from one of the sponsored teams, Scott Crampton's article. A lot of people are very opinionated about the article, to say the least, and some people are actually, they seem outright angry about it in some cases. I mean, this is one player who's got an opinion, and he's a very experienced player, so you know, you can't hold his opinion against him as far as the strategy of the game. But yeah, I mean, we're getting back to tactics, and like that is, there's a lot of people reacting to that, and you know, nobody knows for sure because nothing's been proven yet.
Well, I mean, and talk about the articles. I've avoided writing them because it seems like any time I can't write without insulting someone, including myself. I have no idea why. Maybe it's just who I am. But it seems like, I mean, Realms has just gone weird where anytime you write anything, people just somehow figured out a way to take it to the negative.
Yeah, and you know, it happens. I've never seen it so outward about this. But that said, when we move back into tactics, is it pretty safe to say Pandora's Box and Rocket Fraternity don't have much of a place in the current game with the batteries? I mean, I know I personally think they don't. I want people to see them.
People keep talking about them, and frankly, I've tested a ton out of them, and I can't see them working. I see them working for big games, but they're too random to work in a 300 modern game. The basis for why is because having to wait 7 turns to get to the click 9 for, I believe it's Pandora's Box, correct?
That's the one.
Yeah. 7 straight turns of having wait, you could double barrier and someone can just shoot through the blocking. It doesn't matter any longer, so you don't have that time to be able to do that. So that's definitely for like 600 points or above. That would be an amazing thing play. For the other one, the Rock of Eternity, with the champion and everything, although you basically get to use any of the sins at any time you want that you have on there, why play that when you play a resource like, for example, the Orange Power Battery, which negates stuff and basically gives you extra abilities like the sins do, or any of the other batteries, or even Bat Belt, because it doesn't give you plus stats. The worst thing about the resource is there is no plus stats.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one big thing I noticed. It took me we played it in a really, really large game, and we laughed. We were all laughing at me because I was playing with the Rock of Eternity, and it was, I think, turn 13 when I finally actually managed to switch it to the big Shazam dial. And that doesn't give you any, like you said, it doesn't give you any bonuses to stats. It gives you a bunch of neat powers, so you're kind of relying on the character already being good.
Right, exactly. It just doesn't work out because you got people who have either 20D or above, or like a 13 attack or above in 300 modern now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to kind of go back in time because one of the things we like to do is we like to talk about our champions' pasts, where they started and how they got to where they are. So from rolling your first dice for Heroclix to Team Worlds last year, or your trip up there. Give us the story.
Oh man,
Start with
I've only
first
been
step.
playing for about 3 years.
Oh, really?
So it's yeah. I started up. I think at Hulk. What happened was I went to like a swap meet and I saw Heroclix there and I was like, hey, these look pretty cool. And the guy was like, yeah, they're figures and you can play with them. So I straight up went to my local comic shop, which was Pat's place at the time, Majestix. And I got in there, asked anyone if they knew how to play. A friend of mine sat down with me, showed me how to play. Pat showed up, showed me how to play, and from there, dude, fell in love, loved it. So to play for, it took about, and that's the thing a lot of people don't get. It took about 6 months of constant losing till I think I finally won my first like weekly tournament. And all the people are really cool over here. They were giving me because I had no collection, so it came to every week being if a guy won a booster and he opened up and had the stuff, he'd just give it to me because I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
So it was really cool, and I built up my stuff that way. And I think the first game I ever won was with a Modocs team.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah, AIM, Modoc, and whatnot. And from there, it just moved up. After a year, I think I got good enough that I decided to go with Pat. He had done major tournaments before for like versus and that kind of stuff because he was a professional back then for that. And we decided to test the waters and go to Emerald City Comic Con.
Okay.
And I did that one, and I completely lost in that so bad. But I had cop cars, and I came back for like we came back to try win the side event or something, and we almost got it. And at that point, the fire was lit. It was like, hey, we love this. We love traveling. We love playing awesome players, and why not do it? And it just builds up. The amazing thing is when you're playing in your own area, you start playing with certain. It's like playing a friend. They have a way of playing and only so many pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And so you fall into a mindset. So when you travel and you play with other people, you get to see some amazing stuff. I mean, my world's winning team was based off of a guy from Texas who showed me how to properly play the New Mutants team base. And as soon as I saw it, it was a week before the Deadpool release was allowed in tournaments. I saw it played at the Rock without Copcat, and as soon as I played against him, I was like, man, Copcat and Belt, this is going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, I distinctly, now that you mentioned it, I distinctly remember playing against you with it in Canadian Nationals. And after that game, I immediately turned to Amber and said, "You were doing it wrong."
I do remember that, and I think we played twice because I played one with Copcat and Belt and another one with I had done Black Talon and Adara.
I think we only played the one. You and me only played the one game.
Okay.
I know you had actually managed to play Amber in one of the sealed games that just. Amber doesn't like to talk about.
It was God, I did not. Okay, that was. I'm called the grinder for a reason. That was a grind. Jesus Christ, I made it into the final like qualification was what I made it in on. Because the first one I lost, second one I lost, and the third one I finally made it into. What did you guys do? Top 32? Yeah, top 32.
Wow.
And that was 300-point Bizarro sealed.
Like I find it weird because it took till the last one for you, and I managed to get in on the first one after getting thumped by you.
I got thumped by Pat, so
I hear he's good.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I guess that's a question that comes up is you've been playing alongside Pat a lot. You kind of travel with him. He wins a lot of the ROCs, but you're also up there in the top with him a lot of the time. I've seen you in second place next to him. I've seen you in first in a couple, well, at least one rock.
Right.
Do you find you're often overshadowed by him, or is it is it something you're comfortable with, or?
I mean, yes and no. So he's definitely a better player than I am. By far, I mean, he's the world champ for a reason. He won both Dragon Con and Worlds. However, we call it the brain trust between me, him, and Justino. And the reason why is because we each come with our own special skill sets.
Mhm.
So where he's amazing as far as memorizing dials and tempo for controlling where the actions are going to go and placement and that kind of stuff. It comes down to the other things that are amazing. For example, like maps, I have down. That's my skill set. So when I'm playing against Guy, if I look at his team, I can pick a map that just is better for me than them.
Right.
Uh, Justino is amazing at just range pieces. When you have like the three different enhancers all next to the range guy, and you want to figure out the way to place them all with PD and enhancements and everything, he's the guy who figures that out. So by all three of us testing together and showing each other those things, it comes down to when you're playing in the game, you now have everything prepared. You have a mindset of how the other opponent will most likely play and how you'll set up and how you'll attack, and that's the amazing thing. So to have it to where like when we go to places like for example Padme, I don't mind so much that he beats me. Like I was in Denver and we played round one, and people were laughing because like, oh man, you guys traveled all the way out here and you play each other round one in the Swiss. And I'm like, well that's fine because the only loss I'm gonna have is to Pat, and that's what happened. I beat everyone else, got in, and then again lost to him in top four.
Yeah, so it can't be really that bad when the only guy you're losing to is the guy you know is really good.
Right, and that's not to say other people aren't good. It's just when you test enough like that, you have the mindset you can beat anybody, and that's the way you have to play it. Because if you think you're gonna lose, then you make a mistake, you do something, you lose. So I definitely go in there thinking I can beat everyone, and then when I lose, I don't get frustrated because I had fun anyways.
Yeah.
Like you were there for the Proxima team. That last roll. I mean, if I had lost, that was the greatest game ever. I would have totally still loved it.
You know what? You and me lost to the, or you and me came down to the same situation, and your choice turned out better than mine.
Right, and it's a luck-based game. It has nothing to do with whether I was a better player because I chose for the listeners. I had Super Scroll on last click, and Proxima had the token on me, so she gets to roll for the penetrating damage, and I chose not to choose anything and just pass. And Proxima was double token, so the only thing she could do was roll the token. She missed, and I got to pulse her and kill her.
Oh.
So yeah.
In a similar situation, I panicked and I said, you know what? I'm choosing invincible and hoping I don't roll a 2 or less, and I rolled the 2 or less.
Right, and that just comes down to, I mean, that's simple statistics right there. You have 2 rolls versus the 1.
Yeah.
Because and at the same time, I guess it's the other way, because you could also have it if you had gone it, then you just have the 1 roll. But it's, oh man, that's luck. That has nothing to do with skill. That's you sitting there for 2 minutes going, am I lucky enough today?
How am I feeling? And even funnier is the team. The difference between his team and my team was he went with Proxima and Blue Lantern, and I went with Zombie Super Skrull. That was, otherwise our teams were very similar in the fact that both of us were packing Johnny Quick because a couple of us in Toronto were really, really excited to try to use this character, and I think 3 or 4 of us all in the same area kind of went with Johnny Quick for that tournament.
Right, and that's exactly why I'll look sometimes at the past Rock results if they place them all up. I'll look at top 16 instead of top 8 because sometimes it's just that little thing that gets it out of the way. Maybe it's a piece you need to tweak on the team to make it perfect, and that could be the team that would win it, or it's a player who had the skill to build an amazing team but not the skill to play it necessarily against the opponents that he was playing against. And looking at those other teams down on that list, there's some amazing ideas sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the players in Windsor were really good. There's no game I could turn around and say that game was right off or wasn't a good game. I played good game after good game after good game.
Yep.
I mean, it was weird to play 2 guys from my area though. You travel all the way to Windsor. I don't get to travel as much as a lot of players do. So when I play against one guy I play test with and another guy who just I happen to know and I've played a couple times, it's like not really getting the variety I wanted out of this.
Well, that's how I feel, but I mean, you go with it. For example, when I show up with just Pat and myself, and there's 30 other players, and we play against each other, you're like, well, it happens. I mean, it's fun nonetheless. That's the way you see it. And at the same time, I love Heroclix because it's not like Magic where If you go into a Magic tournament, everyone's in there and everyone's like serious face, no talking, just basic gameplay. Heroclix, there's laughing nonstop. All the meta players, I mean, they have a blast when they play against each other. And even when for example, I crit miss, I'm high fiving the guy. When he crit hits, I'm high fiving the guy. When I crit hit, it doesn't matter. Crits, high fives.
I was a little weirded out when you did it to me actually in that first round because that last attack I made when time was called was a critical miss. It's like, why are you high fiving me? I was caught off guard by that. Oh boy. Oh. So I guess we should carry on your story. So you met Pat. You've been traveling a lot. You actually placed very well in Worlds the year before you won Team Worlds with Pat.
Oh, Golden Age. Oh God, I'm so lucky. I lost to Masu. 'Cause I would like it's embarrassing watching that video of Jake just destroying him, and that would have been me. That would have been me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had shown up. I'll never forget. We were on the airplane, and I told Pat, I was like, okay, Golden, that's my game. That's my shtick. I got this. And I was playing Villains for Hire team base before the team bases got their errata.
Right. Yeah. Because that tournament had no errata for anything yet.
Exactly. And I got lucky because it was modern. I got to figure out how to play it and to go against it. So there's a bit of a Pat and I have a complication with the format being where it's point based for the wins rather than strength of schedule. And the reason why is because I did something in that tournament that was insane. I was able to, well, because Villains for Hire gets to choose someone as the bounty, and when you KO them, you get double the points.
Yes, I remember that. Kind of like the old
Yes.
Arcane rules.
Yeah, so I played in Modern, and I barely didn't make it. I was 4-0 and lost the last round, and because everyone was playing Villains for Hire, I got beat by like, I think, 20 points or something like that. But for day one, and what I did in Golden was I went, this is stupid. If I'm going, let's say 4-1, I think it was for Golden, then I might as well make it to where I clear wipe everything, and it's an easy way to do it. And what I did was I lost round one, and I don't recommend this for anyone unless you're able to do it and you know your team is practically unbeatable, like Jake's was. The triple cop card was unbeatable. There was nothing that could take that thing on. But I lost round one, killing everything minus one piece on purpose. And then I just clear wiped everyone underneath because all those were like Shumas and Thors at full point and that kind of stuff. And by clear wiping those, I was getting double points. So by the time I got 4-1, I had more points than all the guys who went 5-0.
Wow.
Yeah, I doubled their points, I think. And it's because it's just a tactic that you can use. It's like the capture system. You could use it to, get extra points, or the complication that came up with team base versus team base, where there's more points that could come in.
Yeah.
As far as it goes, with all these extra points coming in, and the Avengers ID cards that are coming out, and the oh god, so many things bring in points now. Pieces that bring in points. It's just not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting the guy who builds a good team but isn't able to make it because he plays someone else who brought in an additional like 300 points on the field, 200 points on the field. It's not fair.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed it start. I've actually built teams I like to call the factory teams, where the entire idea of the team was to not end the game with just what I started, but rather by like turn 4 or 5, I have 2 more teams altogether.
Yeah, yeah. There's a player, Will. He shows up to the local rock. Oh, he shows up to a lot of the rocks, and he always gets bubbled out on placing high. But his son Paris does, and Team Ragnarok, as you know, took the. Yeah, I think they did really well at the 1K and took the team trophy. So they're the highest rating for wins losses for their overall team. They beat everyone else, including us, Majestix, and. Will had shown up with Black Talon Maximus when it first came out at a rock.
Holy smokes.
And yeah, we we were laughing because it was Black Talon, Maximus, and Book. And we literally looked at the team and went, so if you pop out like 10 people, or is that it? Like, is that game? Because he had literally 10 figures on his side of the board, and we just went, I think you win for creativity, but you only have 3 actions.
Oh man! And then the green power battery is your nightmare.
Yeah, that's true too. Now it's crazy. At the time, it was nothing because there was no sniper.
Yeah, that's true. So explain for a lot of the fans are diehard HeroClixers and only been playing HeroClix as a game. I'm familiar with Strength Schedule because I used to play Versus like Patrick did, and I also used to play Magic. But explain how the Strength Schedule works in regards to the tournament organization versus what we have right now.
It's I always get it messed up a little bit, but basically, okay. WizKids has decided that they're going to take Strength Schedule as a system. They've implemented it into Dice Masters.
Right.
They've also got it on the WizKids event system, saying that when you sign up for a HeroClix tournament, you can choose Strength of Schedule. So they're definitely thinking about it. Okay. Now, the way Strength Schedule generally works is your strength comes from if you play and you beat someone, then that person who loses against you still matters to you, because whatever their placing is at the end, whenever you lose, their placement suddenly gives you either a push up or a push under the next person who's at the same level as you. So let's say you're 3-1, another guy's 3-1, and the only person you lost to is also 3-1. He's a higher, he pushes you up compared to the other guy who you just lost to that's 3-1, and his opponent who he lost to went 2-2.
Right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, 2-2, exactly. So it's that little bit of nudge that helps out, and the reason why is because at that point, and this, it gives bonus points to winning early compared to winning late. No, I'm sorry. It gives bonus points winning early and hurts people who lose late in the game. And the reason why is because I think it establishes the median at when you have 2-2. Like, it's perfect. It's easy to figure out. Mm-hmm. I'm explaining it terribly compared to what Pat has put up on Realms multiple times. If you look at the 1K thread, he explains it completely, the formula and everything.
If I was to TLDR, it would be basically how well you do is reflective of how well the person who beat you did, or how everybody you played against did.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Because and that's that. It's in the name of it, Strength of Schedule. I'm just trying to more or less inform more of our fans, because I've heard some fans like the idea, some fans aren't big on it, some don't have no idea how it works and don't get how it's different from the current point system. So
yeah, it's literally, I mean, the format is used in every major hobby game at this point.
Yeah.
So it's weird to see even Warhammer uses Strength of Schedule, which is like point based. So it's weird to see a game that's point based not using it.
I think ultimately part of it is, and this is out of left field, but it could be that a lot of the judges, when you think about a local event, WizKids treats everything kind of like it's a local event, even kind of running the same system with Worlds and Nationals. And then the point system is just so simple for somebody who's like not great at organizing a tournament or is unfamiliar with it. It lets a judge who's never kind of run a tournament beforehand walk in and go, okay, I count his points, they're high, play, go, right?
Well, Strength Schedule is the same thing. It's really simple in that you just put names of win-loss. That's it. You don't care about points. And the system does everything for you in the computer. And now that WizKids is asking that everyone be online at all times using their event system, it's perfect for that reason that, like you said, they were doing local play setup, and it was great when it first started up as a company. And about 2 years ago, when I went to Worlds, it was 200 people or close to that going, okay, so you're screaming out our names and trying to place us at a table. This is going to take like 15 minutes just to get people sitting down correctly, and then another 5 set up and another 5 to get you tell us all start the game, which by the way is the back group wasn't able to hear sometimes because the megaphone wasn't working or something like that. So to have it that kind of local community thing where like if you got 8 players and you do it that way, then that's cool. But they've decided recently in the past year, I mean, even they started printing out the schedule, doing it like a professional company and putting it up and going, hey guys, here's the seating spots. Just grab it, go. And you know, it's become so much simpler, and it's better, and everything they're doing is working. So I think they're going that route. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. I've found WizKids as a company has been a lot smaller than others, and I think their rate of changing and adapting is a little slower than a lot of other games I've noticed.
Right.
It's been helpful for the game itself. It gets people used to an idea, and then when you bring in a new thing, it's just that new thing we have to learn. But
yeah, when I first started out, it was one set every 3 months, I think, and now it's set every month. In fact, there's like 2 sets every month sometimes.
Wow.
So yeah, it's crazy when they, for example, have a lapse in their shipping or whatever, or being able to process the figures, and I go, oh, cool, that's money I get to save this month to spend somewhere else.
Yeah.
Which I'm happy with. But other people, oh man, they got their clicks fix. That's like drugs for them. They're like, I need it every 2 weeks.
I feel you. We're really excited about doing our unboxings because that means we get Heroclix to open.
Yeah, you like that? The flew you guys a brick personally.
And we do appreciate that from Majestix. We do love it, and we do mention your names when we play our seals with it.
Yay!
Because it also helps me pay my staff too. Love you guys.
There you go. That's all that matters.
So now we've talked about the past. Let's look to the future. The metagame, it's strange this year. I said last year that there was a lot of different teams. I said the year before there was a lot of different teams. We still haven't even figured out the team this year.
Yeah, I mean, people were complaining originally when the Gauntlet came out, and they were going, well, this resource is crazy, it's overpowered, I don't understand why you're allowing this, I don't like it. And every resource that WizKids has brought out has been original, and it's been like sophisticated in its own ruling and that kind of stuff, and it's been perfect because it allows figures that you normally wouldn't expect to be good become great. And of course, there's the other side, which is great figures become amazing. But with that, it allows for more and more flavor to the game and more like color. As far as, I mean, Fiddler in No Tactics made it, and Fiddler is still good in Modern too, if you want to look at it to a certain extent.
Yep. Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. But I also want to point out, when you're saying the Gauntlet, even the Gauntlet, the only thing in common in that metagame was the Gauntlet. Every other team was fairly different. I mean, Superman showed up a lot, don't get me wrong, but there's different builds with Superman. And there was Eradicator showed up an awful lot too. So
oh yeah, I mean, so many things, and every set that comes out has that one piece where it blows everyone away, but that first tournament that it shows up at, no one thought to play it other than that one guy.
Yeah.
For example, and of course there's the other pieces, like for KC Flash. When KC Flash came out in the new Flash set, you're just like, yeah, I gotta slap a utility belt on this guy and an entity, and we're good to go.
Yeah, and it was the talk of the town. Everybody was always talking about what is it? Kingdom Come Flash Turtle. Everybody talked about it, and it never showed up. Never saw it.
That's the amazing thing with this game, is that you have so many choices that you don't have to go that route if you don't want to.
Yeah,
you're more than welcome. And with resources, it allows for certain powers that you'd never think to be good become amazing, like Smoke Cloud or Plasticity.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen a couple of characters with weird powers or adding weird powers to them, and all of a sudden it was a mind-blowing thing. I have started putting the bulldozer on just about every build I've come up with a battery, because I don't want to worry about a virus.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we tested last night, and one of the pieces that's amazing is from the new Fast Forces set for Trinity War is the Atomica, 25 points, 19D Precision Strike, and that woman can still base you just like Despo. She doesn't do poison, but she's still annoying enough that you need to Force Blast that away sometimes.
And she comes with plasticity, so you might be stuck with her for a little bit too sometimes.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's a wide open game now. Do you think there's going to be enough time? Do you think the ROC, the first ROC that's going to run a tactics format, do you think the information is going to be out fast enough for it to affect nationals? Because it would be next weekend would be the event, and then the weekend after that is a U.S. nationals. Do you think that is that?
It will be, because the Rock, it's amazing. So the Rock is sponsored and run by HC Realms for the most part, and TCG Player,
Yeah.
which is great. But where the information really comes from, as far as who did what went where kind of stuff, that's from the players. The
Yep.
players are so excited showing up to these tournaments because they're going, and the biggest thing is every time I go to one, and I hear that local player go, I was scared to show up because I heard this is going to be intense, but it's so much fun and I did so well, I want to go to the bigger tournament. So it seems like it's the middle ground. You have the weekly tournaments, then the monthly OP kit, whatever it is, like AVX or War of Light or whatever. Then the Rock. Once you start, doing well in those, you go to the Rock. If you do well at the Rock, then you want to go to the major event, which is WizKid sponsored, either nationals or worlds or whatever. And I always tell people, there's so many people that are great players but don't believe they're good enough to go to these things, and they do so well when they show up. As long as you know your figures, how to play the game, and when to push to attack and when not to, I think you're good to go. I think you'll place high enough. Rolls make a difference, though. I've lost to rolls, other people have lost to rolls, but like that means nothing. At that point, you couldn't do anything in the game, but you're still a good player.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have? Everybody always wants to know this. Do you have a figure that stands out as your favorite? Let's go with current modern.
Oh, okay. I gotta be biased.
Give away your team. I accept your non-answers.
I gotta be biased. So my new favorite figure is we won the 3v3, and Pat won singles worlds, and in the 3v3 we decided Pat was gonna make a Marvel figure, and I decided I won DC because I'm a DC guy. I mean, I'm both, but actually I read more Marvel than I do DC, which is weird. But I'm a DC guy at heart, and so we decided that we're making Felix Faust. Or I'm sorry, not Felix Faust.
Yeah, Faust, right?
Faust, his son.
We never had this
What is his name?
over alcohol at all.
What the heck is his name? Felix Faust's son.
Oh, to the Google machine.
To the Google machine.
Quick, pull up his Wikipedia page. Wait, that's the story. No, that's the one. Created by.
He was in The Outsiders. Yeah, I'm so biased. I'm loving a character. I can't even remember his name. Clearly, I haven't slept. Sebastian Faust. Jesus Christ, I can't even find it on Google, but at least I remembered it. So Sebastian Faust is going to be the character, which, amazingly enough, we're so excited that Felix Faust is coming out of this Connolly too.
Yep.
So it's going to be perfect. Hopefully, if everything goes well, it'll release by the end of this year, if not whenever. But I'm excited. Nothing's been set in stone yet. We're still tweaking the details and whatnot, but it's just fun making a character like him who's never been Clix before. It's wonderful to see that coming from quite a few champs. I know Daniel is he's done. Was it Shriek? Shriek was an unclicked figure, and who else made an unclicked? Well,
I think you and him will be the only ones who've made an unclicked figure.
Is that right? Let me think about
I'm
this.
pretty sure it was.
Stargirl, yeah, Stargirl was Clixed.
Yeah.
Uh,
And Black Adam was clicks before too.
yeah,
And there's definitely a
Harley
Nightcrawler and
Quinn,
Clobber
of
in time.
course, and
I had to deal with that guy a lot, almost as much as I
yeah.
had to deal with the Web of Spider-Man one. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, maybe it is. Wow. I mean, we didn't even think about it that way. It was just one of those things. I was like, man, I haven't seen this guy in forever. I was looking through characters, and it went into, uh, of course, the crazy ones. Like, oh, I want Spawn, but then knowing McFarlane is the person that he is, you just knew there wasn't going to be a yes to that. Then it was like, oh, what if I get like the two strongest people from Marvel and DC on the same figure, and I knew that just cost way too many points, and I want something that'll be played actually in 300
Yeah.
modern. So it came down to when I finally saw it, and I was like, oh my god, I remember this guy from my childhood. I haven't seen him in a comic in forever. Why not?
Yeah. I find often at times I start reminiscing about a comic book character, and WizKids all of a sudden brings them out in the sets. I mean, ASM, they gave me the Midnight Sun, so I was quite content.
Yeah.
But also all my Mecha figures are gone, so I'm going to be a boring person and end up probably making a character I'm tattooed with. So
Well, I felt so bad because I had when I first started out and when I first got on Realms, there was a discussion of what's the world piece that you want made, and everyone had gone into Jimmy Olsen. They're like, Jimmy Olsen has never been made a clicks figure. He's a bystander token, if at all. If we ever win, we're doing Jimmy. And I think about 30 people signed a petition for Jimmy Olsen, including myself. So when I finally won, I was like, Jimmy Olsen, and Pat and Justin looked at me and were like, we won too. No, vetoed.
vetoed.
So I have to win Worlds this year now to make Jimmy Olsen.
Now, in Jimmy Olsen's defense, you could go the CSA route and make the Jimmy Olsen that was in that Crisis on Two Earths animated one where he's Kryptonian.
Oh God, I can. Yeah, Jimmy has been like everything at some point. He's got millions of powers to choose from, hundreds of storylines. Like it's really simple to. I think the biggest problem is going to be what do I want him to have, because he could literally have everything. It just depends on what storyline I take.
Oh, cool. So now I have to ask your practice habits without giving you don't have to tell us what you guys do necessarily or how your whole process works, but how often do you guys find yourself getting together and practicing? I know Pat mentioned you guys sometimes get together late at the store.
Yeah, so the way it works generally, and maybe this will be my first article, because I've talked about it before, and I guess people who talk to me will generally know, but otherwise, so the way it works is we play test. We play test, we play test, we play test.
Yep.
Till we basically know everything. And the reason why is because you don't want to be surprised by anything. Even if it's what we'll do is we'll start with, so I'll show up to the weekly tournament. There's usually one or two a week. And I'll show up to that, I'll play that. That's a fun format. That's whatever I want, just to play the figures that I can out of the, because there's so many figures that come out in a brick, and not all of them are meta playable, but they're weekly tournament playable. So I'll show up with those, have fun with those, because otherwise they're just sitting in a box for no reason.
I played Sleepwalker this week. I know the feeling.
Yeah, exactly. It's so weird because you look at them and you're like, I never even knew it looked so cool. Wow, I've had this thing for like a month.
Yeah. No, but sorry, continue.
Yeah. So I'll show up. Generally, we'll play in the weekly tournament, which is on a Tuesday. And then we'll go out to dinner and we'll start discussing some team ideas. And then Wednesday or Thursday, I'll show up and we'll just play those team ideas. And either we'll start with a team that's the basis. It's the gatekeeper. If you can beat this team, then your team's good enough to go on to the next team to play that. And generally the way it works is we'll have each of us one major idea for a team play. And we'll play that, we'll figure out which one's the better one, and we'll have that as the gatekeeper, and then we'll start building stuff to beat that and go on. And we'll even play, sometimes it'll be mediocre teams that you know are going to show up. Like, for example, in No Tactics, we knew it was going to be Kyle or Super Scroll. But there were differences. There were some other things that you expected, like figures like I expected a lot of Maximus. I didn't see that so much at first,
Mhm.
but I expected a lot of Maximus because of the Empower or a lot of uh, Abensur with the wall and like High Fathers, that kind of stuff. Before the crazy idea that you could just pick up everyone and High Father's thing doesn't work. I can't believe we didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll test those things, even the average teams, because we expect it to be played, and you want to through playing you memorize things better than just looking on realms and memorizing a dial.
Right. Yeah.
Because doing so might not show you what tricks the team might have. And the biggest thing is we test because a lot of team ideas on paper look amazing, and when played, you're just like, wow, it doesn't do what it's supposed to. One of the things is Orange Power Battery. Orange Power Battery, when I thought about it, I had gone, this is amazing because I can nerf just about anything. And then once I sat down and played it, by turn two, I realized it just doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Because you either choose to put a construct on someone or choose to negate.
Right.
And when you're so turn one you put a construct on someone, turn two you do the negation they cannot use, and from then on you're stuck. You're basically going, well, I'm keep negating the same powers, or I'm gonna waste a turn, put a construct on, and then attempt do it the following turn. And there are certain teams that just won't care about the negation; they'll just kill you. Because they go, okay, you negated one of my guys, but my other two attackers are probably going to take you out.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I've been noticing too is the teams that have been successful with it are slow.
Right, and it's cool that they've got that ability to slow down the game, to change up. Anytime you're able to change the game to be the way you want it, you're making it control. You're doing way better than anyone else because you're able to instantly take your opponent onto a time restraint of what you want.
Yeah. Right. And then, of course, it's a matter of getting that quick early point and then putting them on the tilt, as I like to call it.
Right. Well, you could do it the other way too. You could alpha strike and get them on the time restraint that you want too, if you want to do fast paced, craziness.
Yeah.
Weaponer, when Weaponer first came out, Weaponer of Cord, that was the insane thing. Was just TKM out and alpha strike. We hadn't had alpha strike for since Ghost Rider with the Bat Belt, which got the errata.
Yeah, it did. So I have to ask because you're south of the border, and the U.S. Nationals running a slightly different format than us. They're running a 128-person qualifier that's 100% sealed, and it's like you get 2 packs of sealed. You got to work with that and get into the top 32 for that, and then play with a constructed team after that. I'm collecting opinions on it. Well, what do you? I understand sealed is equal parts skill and luck, but I mean, your opinion on it.
That's exactly what it is. It's equal parts skill and luck. Even if you have an okay average team, you could generally do better than most if you're a good player.
Right.
The issue comes around, though, that sealed is a local thing. Sealed is really, you just go, hey, we want to do sealed, and whoever shows up can play. You can't do it and expect people to travel.
Yeah.
Because no one will take that chance. I mean, let's say there's a 30% chance that I'm gonna build a team, and when I show up, everyone will have what it takes to kill my team. Well, there's a 60% chance that I'll show up and they may have something that'll take out my team, or I may not pull anything out with sealed. It adds too much of a randomness to it that I don't like it. Because as far as it goes, and people were talking about it online when the sponsorship was brought up.
Yeah.
The us getting sponsored by Realms and whatnot. They don't really pay for travel expenses or anything like that. So it is our own pocket money that comes out. So what happens is, if we win, we'll generally sell the stuff that we win, and they'll pay for the tournament.
Right.
But you have to win. So it's, are you good enough to make it? And it doesn't matter how good of a player you are if you just get jank boosters. I had that happen to me at the San Diego is about an hour and a half drive away, and we did the Open, WizKids Open. I went down there, did that, pulled nothing, could not place at all.
Yeah.
Won the side event, which was great, and that was I did battle royals, won those, so it's not like I don't like sealed. I love sealed, and I think I'm good enough to actually place in sealed. But yeah, the rand miss is too high. I don't want to travel to it.
I think one of my big concerns about it too is the set itself. While you're just talking about
Yeah.
the seal, I just kind of quickly did the math. At 128 people, that's 256 packs if they have that many Trinity War packs, and that's that's a lot of cases of Trinity War, which is a lot of chances of Martian Manhunter showing up. And in sealed, that guy is
Right. I mean, there's always that set piece.
yeah.
In Slosh, it was Bizarro or Darkseid for sealed. In Flash, it was, I
Harder in
believe.
Flash because there was Captain Thunder was the highest point character, it's 225. But if you got a Kingdom Come Flash, you're generally on the road to victory.
Right. I was say I believe it was KC Flash, or even to an extent Reverse Flash, just because you slow down the game a bit, and when they hit you, you get stronger. So yeah. Uh, in Trinity War, it's definitely a Martian Manhunter. I mean, we saw it firsthand, me and you, at the Canada event, where an amateur player defeated. Well, I shouldn't say that, because he was a good player. He just started. I say that. So yeah, a newcomer defeated everybody,
Myself,
including yeah. I mean, if it didn't matter who was playing, if you were playing against that Martian Manhunter, you were gonna die, because to have only two actions and for him to have the strength that the piece has, it's insane.
yeah. And even in our case, it was a 400 point shield, and he happened to also pull a John Constantine. I had a CSA team, and he outpropped me. I
Yep,
had 4 characters with CSA on my team, and he outpropped me.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's epic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy things like that. You sure you'll knock out maybe one or two Martian Manhunters to get to the top, but eventually it's pretty similar. It's like Slosh. Bizarro is going to win sealed, or Darkseid is going to win sealed. So there's no real reason to play if you're not getting those pieces, unless you're cool with. If you don't want to get first, basically. If you want to get the other positions, then yeah, you're still more than welcome to.
Yeah. And it'll be a slog for those who pull the tighter. I mean, one thing I did notice about Trinity War is it is playable even with some of the lamer packs, but you'd have to pull very, very terribly to not be able to actually do well enough and provide a decent enough outing.
Well, it's dependent on map. The amazing pieces in that set are the Atlantis pieces.
Yep.
And so if you got water, yeah, you're golden. If you don't, then your team has just been nerfed to absolutely nothing.
Yep. Absolutely. So now we move over to now it's gonna be 32 people in that one after the sealed. Do you think the accuracy of the player, of the representation of that, is going to be, how do I put it, is it going to be as accurate as any other nationals or worlds where they've had the two different types of grinders? Excuse me.
You mean as far as going from sealed to top 32 and then accuracy?
The players that place in sealed, do you think we'll see very many familiar names? If a lot of familiar names.
Well, yeah, definitely. So one of the things you had stated earlier was the balance between skill and pulls.
Yeah.
And it really does come to that, because although your pulls may be average, your skill picks it up to make it decent, or I say better than decent team, and have better than decent ability. So you'll definitely see the competitive players showing up and still placing, because it is top 32. I don't think we have. I think in total right now, out of all the competitive players in the U.S., I think there's only like 50. And if not all of them are going, then sure, yeah, majority of them should be able to make it.
Cool. All right, so I want to kind of familiarize myself and some of the fans. The perks of being the world champ. This year, you don't really need the nationals to get that extra bye qualifier, do you?
No, but the pricing is so good. WizKids has been getting better and better every year as far as their pricing put out, and it's great because it's cool to get these limited edition kind of things, and for them to now release the stuff like I believe the Spider-Man team base is being sold at at NECA's retail stores basically now.
It's here. Our comic shop.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So it's cool that all those things.
Have it now.
It's cool that all those things, if you don't get them right off the bat, you can get them later. And to have all these, what I like to call them is custom figures, these con ollies, because that's really what they are. They're not from a set. It's an idea from a WizKids employee who went, hey, I really like this, and I can't put it in a set. Why not make it? Like the new Felix Faust coming out. I'm going to love that thing. I don't care if it sucks.
I'm confused that Doctor Strange made that kind of cut, to be honest. It's like, really? You guys didn't know what to do with Doctor Strange? I think it has something to do with somebody had the idea of the D20 with it. And that's why
Could be. I think it may be to do with the... Well, yeah, actually. That... Because I'll just say the movie, but I don't think that's being released at the same time.
No, I think that's still a year or two away.
A year away, yeah.
So, but that said, how do you feel about the figures that we've seen and even the dials that we've seen? I mean, I personally do enjoy playing with the con figures. They're always different. They don't.
Yeah, they're always random. They're fun.
Yeah.
And then when you make them competitive, like the Krampus capture team, Krampus Hellspawn.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it gets weird, and you're like, okay, did I really just lose to a mythical creature? What the heck happened?
Yep. A mythical creature and a guy in Wildcats.
Yeah, exactly. This is a complete indie team, basically. Like, yeah. Same thing with the Holiday Elf. You know, it's actually a decent piece to be played, and it was the coolest thing come out. So, Spider-Ham is the new one. Yeah. Or no, I'm sorry, the Shade, right?
The Weird.
He's the new one that you're just like, the heck is this guy doing?
And my dad isn't a big comic book reader. He's read his select set of comic books. But the fact that me and him have read the original appearance of the Weird before the New 52 showed up.
Oh, where he's an assassin and everything? Yeah.
I was just like, wait, what? They're bringing the Weird? And I was expecting that one, the one who was beating up the Green Lantern Corps and Superman. But I got the one that's in the comic books. I haven't read the Stormwatch stuff yet myself.
He's really weird.
He's named well then.
Exactly. No, yeah, it's got a cool concept of like where he points his finger is basically the only way he can go and that kind of stuff. And you're going, okay, so they're bringing like a Mage Knight rule. And I never played Mage Knight, but I heard how it goes and whatnot.
Yeah.
And they're basically bringing that kind of interaction into the game through one piece as like a special limited edition kind of thing. And I'm going, yeah, that's a fun idea. I love it.
Yep. Yeah. And you know, if people become fans of it, then you might see it show up in a couple other characters. You might see like the resurgence of a tank who can only really shoot unidirectionally or something to that effect.
Right. That's the fun thing about the way I see the con ollies is basically they're fun for everybody and they're tests for the most part. And then the tests sometimes go crazy, like Resurrection Man.
And since you brought up tests, the sideline seems to be becoming a thing.
Yes. So sideline's huge. If you have a mind controller, always put alpha primitives on your sideline.
Mm-hmm.
I
was referring to Animal Man and Composite Superman and all these other characters.
Oh, right, yeah, all those too, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
they don't have a ruling for a maximum size of sideline, do they? It's just
there's an old ruling, an antiquated ruling that I can't get my hands on anymore that I remember reading just before Canadian Nationals because you saw my sideline at Canadian Nationals.
Right.
And it was massive because I had the 10th anniversary stuff, all the promotions handy. But it was
right.
3 characters for every 100 points of the build. And that's what I had found.
I remember that, and I believe it's still that way.
Yeah. And
As far as the other stuff you can put on the sideline, like constructs and that kind of stuff, there's no limit to it.
No, anything that you're coming in from out of the game, if it specifically says from out of the game, is not limited. So like you could bring 100 alpha primitives with you, even though you can only use the ability twice, or if you Black Talon all day, every day, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, but it makes it so much fun having mind control for you. Mind control Maximus, pop out an alpha primitive that's now yours,
Yeah.
or if you're old school, the Fear Itself dude that Thor turns into, what's his name, Tannerus, I think, or something like that.
Tanneracker, yeah.
Yeah.
Ulik dresses Thor or something like that.
Yeah, basically, mind control of Thor, turn it into that if it's on your sideline. Now the person's looking at you going, wait, what just happened?
I have a who? What is this guy? Why does he have plasticity?
Yeah, no running shot?
Yeah. Absolutely. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of the fun that a lot of these characters bring. I don't often expect them to be competitive, and then a couple of them kind of stand out, like Dupe did last year. And
Right, Composite Superman definitely will.
Yeah.
He seems like a crazy idea just because of Legion of Superheroes, and we never know what's coming out either.
Yeah, and these monthly OP kits actually are another realm of things that just came out of left field. And some of them are really good, some of them are okay, some of them are.
Well, as far as I remember, last year at the Gamma Trade Show, WizKids stated that they weren't going to. Trendy War was the last set to have grab feed.
Yeah.
Right. And they're switching everything to monthly OP kits. So I'm happier with the monthly OP kit because the grab feed, there was always only like one figure, maybe two figures in a grab feed that you wanted out of the full like 10 to 12 that would be coming out. So it wasn't worth it.
I mean, and yeah, Trinity War had the Green Arrow in that was better than the Green Arrow on the main set for sure.
Yeah.
And I think the trench in that set, in that one, was definitely stood out better than the trench in the main set. But
they both have their advantages.
Yeah, they both play differently, but both were really good. And they were starting to throw a lot of generics in there, which was making them more tempting every time I passed by. Like, I might get a generic if I buy another one, even though I bought a box and got 2 sets. So,
yeah, but the monthly OP kits allowed different things that necessarily aren't with the set idea. For example, the new White Queen, we could go that.
Yeah.
And the Cuckoos, which I need a ruling from them. Hopefully we'll figure out what happens. Which is White Queen has a damage ability where it's she can't take any more damage other than the push, other than through push, basically. As long as she's the only, or if she's the only character on the map, she can take damage normally.
Yeah.
And the question comes around with if you have 2 White Queens, what happens? Yeah. So you can still die to in-cap because it's push damage, but if you can't die any other way, that doesn't make sense. However, I'm pretty sure, hopefully, when I get the ruling back, they're going to say you could die to unavoidable, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got to find a source of offensive unavoidable damage.
Mystics, defensive. You can do that.
But I think she has like 0 movement, 0 attack, 0 damage on that click, and like a 20 defense. And I think there's 3 or 4 clicks after that she has too.
I got a computer. Let me check.
Onwards to HC Realms. HCRealms.com, where you can check out all kinds of wonderful things in the unit section.
She does. She has 3 clicks afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can't be. This power can't be countered or ignored, which is the most annoying thing about it.
Yeah. So, and she's not going to be attacking anybody with Mystics with that ability, with that click on, because she's got a 0 attack.
Right. So it comes around to what can you do against it?
Yeah. What can you even do? Can't be healed. Oh man. We'll figure somebody's going to figure something out to get around that, because that could be.
Yeah, because although you can't be healed or anything, you're basically pushing yourself off of it. I get that, but what if you just want to? Because the biggest issue last year was the, and I don't know why WizKids does this. As far as they really need someone with an English major or an attorney or something look at the rules
Ernie.
and set up their. They just need someone set up the wording for their cards and everything because they had the same problem with the Loki from Thor: Dark World last year, the
Yeah.
one that breaks out. If it was just worded the same way as Ice Cap or Weapon X Wolverine from the Captain America chases, would have been perfect, no issues whatsoever. But because they decided to change one or two words in it, it created a huge complication where people were like, if I play two Lokis, I can freeze the game and I can go roll off. And it seems like the same thing is coming here with White Queen. You can freeze the game, go roll off. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that you'd expect anyone to do that, but there is always that one guy who's a local player and is just a troll. He just wants to show up to, troll that day.
I believe there is one source to get by this because this is a stop click.
Yes,
Right?
it's a stop click with cannot be countered or ignored. So the only thing that will get you by it is in cap currently.
Or Blue Devil.
Oh, because the special, right?
Yeah, because his special does unavoidable damage.
No. Isn't it?
Straight.
Yeah, and the special has to be okay, yeah, stop. That's right.
Yeah. Whew. Hey, he's useful again. Blue Devil, I've been talking with my buddies about a couple times, and every time I was just like, I want to make him good, and then I look at the dial and it's like, can't do it.
Yeah. I mean, he was good in no tactics because you knew Kyle was going to show up. However, Super Scroll was the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
That's the same thing here. Okay, let's say you get White Queen, but then if no one else is playing it, you're kind of screwed because he's not that amazing of a piece for the points that he's worth.
I mean, even with a sniper rifle on the green battery, I'm not excited about him. You know what I mean?
So talking about the batteries, what's your take as far as the one that's going to be played the most?
As far as the most, if I was to actually venture a guess, I always go with the one everybody has. And that would be like the Green Lantern. Kind of like how Kyle Rayner was commonly played because it gave him away for War of Light. The Green Battery.
That's what I was going to say.
The Green Battery is still just a gift. Everybody was given one. So I figure that's the one you're going to see the most. And then it's going to be a difference of all the different ones. From trickle down from there is all the retail ones. And then it comes down to style after that. I mean, I actually have an episode coming up on it, but each battery I think, can be played with a type of team, and that type of team could be competitive in most cases. Some take more work than others. Some are less likely to succeed or have better matchups against others as well. So, right off the top of my head, the green is definitely going to be the one that shows up the most, probably followed by yellow for tentpole players.
I agree with you that green's going to be the one that shows up the most, and the reason why I was going to give was, like you said, if you look at the Super Q from South America, which was last weekend, there were only Kyle players, no Super Scrolls in the top. And the basis for that, I figure, is because they had issues with getting boosters, or because Super Scroll is he's a chase. Yeah. He's one of like 8 chases in that set. So he's rare to get compared to Kyle, who everyone got.
If you actually look at the top 2 teams of that tournament, it was a Kyle Rayner and then 2 of the giveaway Guy Gardners.
I still don't get that team. 2 Guy Gardners, 2 walls. I was like, what is going on here? How did you make it? Yeah. I would love to have that person tell me exactly what he did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those things, like, sometimes a thing happens, and it's like, how did that go by? And it could be any number of elements. It could be like the local players didn't have the availability to deal with things. Nobody saw that Guy Gardner coming. Somebody listened to me and said, the heck with it, let's get Precision Strike and Battle Fury and give a chance to throw a exploit weakness on them and get rid of all the possible rolling dice, right?
Oh, believe me, sometimes, yeah, I've done it. I showed up with a crappy team. I'll never forget this. The first major tournament I played in was Pat's $1,000 tournament, and I showed up with Master Mold and 3 little robot agents from like Cap that are 25 points apiece, and the Gauntlet on Master Mold. And I rolled like 9s and 10s the whole day. I mean, I was rolling high. So people were like, "Okay, you got a 10 attack on a 20D. Cool, I'll hit it." And I'd hit it with range. They just look at me going, "Well, that's unexpected." And I was like, "Yeah, there you go. It's all day." So I went undefeated for the Swiss, show up to top 16, and get defeated first round because couldn't roll. And I mean, there's sometimes that's the way it goes. You'll see that weird team that made it in because the guy just did so well on everything he was doing. He was so lucky, and then everything happens. The day of that happened the last 1K. I was playing Super Scroll and I lost to a Doctor Strange defend team.
Yeah, someone played something very similar at our winner map with Doctor Strange, Despotellis, and using the defender's team ability to the 21 defenses.
Yeah, so it's a great concept because you always see that's one of the things you always got to think, the opportunity cost. But what it comes down to of, if I do this, then what happens in the other side? And it's, if I go for the high D, then what happens if they hit it? Because you're going high defense and not that high of damage output. You're hoping to slow down the game and get it anyways through, let's say Captain Marvel Prime.
Right.
The question comes around to, well, what if they hit the high D? Are you still okay, or are you going to go on tilt because you have no other choice?
Yeah. And that's why I never play those teams, because my opponents have wizard dice.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna play it, you play it with all the probs. Just keep probbing until they roll a crit miss and then stop.
Amber tried that. You can't prob a super sense or a shape change, right, Amber? You should see the face she's giving me right now. That was a video.
There's a piece that can.
Rocket Raccoon.
Rocket Raccoon, Ancient One.
Battery. Emotional.
No. Right. Rocket Raccoon.
Oh, and the Doctor Strange from Fear Itself.
You're right. Yeah, that was the last one.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are the three sources of re-rolling a super sense, a shape change, or impervious even.
Which, by the way, is, if anyone doesn't visit H3 Realms, I saw on there someone was talking about Absorbing Man Blue Lantern battery. That doesn't work because the errata on Absorbing Man.
Yeah.
I don't know if that came up in there. I didn't get a chance to post it, but yeah.
It's one of those. It's an errata that wasn't made desperately loud. It was kind of quietly made by the rules team, apparently.
Yeah.
Where they kind of pointed out there's going to be an errata of this character that says that die roll can't be re-rolled. So it's probably actually up on the WS right now. But also worth mentioning is it's been almost a week since there's been a new rules update or a new ruling listed on the WES. I have a feeling it has something to do with April 1st being the release of the Avengers movie set. New starter set.
I don't know. I hope to God that's the reason. And I try as hard as possible to... Okay, I'll start with a compliment. So I'm happy WizKids has finally taken it upon themselves to do the rulings, because now we don't have the middleman, basically, which was what was happening on HC Realms. The orange is going, well, we don't know, we got to go to the cave. Then they all talk and they go, well, we still don't know, we got to go to Realms, or to WizKids and ask them.
Yeah.
Now WizKids is just able to take care of it. That's nice. What I don't like is the fact that they do shadow rulings, as far as they can post anytime they feel like and not show whether they edited a post or when they post.
Yeah.
They don't. It's not like if they just start a listing of these are the things that we've answered that are new and updated within the past week, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things that they definitely rule, which is old stuff that someone using the search function wasn't able to find, so they'll ask, but it's been ruled on before.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one of the things, is the search function is actually really good, as long as the spelling is
yeah.
And I've been able to find things. I've looked up like Pulse Wave, and there's 150 rulings. Okay, well, I have a specific ruling. Give me a second here. I'll look up a word again, because it's got an advanced search that you can go deeper and deeper and deeper into the search and just kind of limit one at a time, which is a very useful feature when you have rulings that can, a single power can interact different ways with a bunch of characters.
Well, I don't like that they'll do. One of the things they'll do is I'll search for something, and I won't find it, and I'll expect that it should have been asked. So I'll ask them myself, going, "Hey, has this been asked before?" They go, "Yes, it's being discussed. Stop asking us." I'm like, okay, seriously, how was I supposed to know? You didn't post it anywhere that it's being reviewed currently.
Yeah.
So they recently started that up, where they're now posting it's being reviewed. So I do like that, but also them posting it's being reviewed means they actually have to post that they've decided on it, and there's still rulings that they haven't decided on. That's almost
I'm still waiting
3
on
months
Dr.
old.
Light.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean, there's a minor difference between the Dr. Light and the Mikhail Rasputin, which is probably causing the argument, but I don't think it really is an argument. And I mean, it would be nice to see that ruling. But also, again, like I said, with the new starter set, there might be some tweaks to the rules that could change some of the rulings that are up there, and that would be would be everybody's nightmare, to say the least.
Right, and it's it's always weird, and you're right. New sets bring up new rulings, new mechanics, that kind of stuff. I'm really happy with the Avenger ID cards, the way they're being done. I watched the video, and it's a really cool concept.
For me.
Yeah, but it's also going to bring complications with it as far as how certain things are going to have to be rolled on as far as like scoring necessarily.
Yeah, because like you might be able to take, because it's the beginning of your next turn that the character goes away. It gives a player a turn to possibly kill that figure who's on the board. So that's the 5 points they've already scored for you using the card, and then a potential more points if you can murder whatever you bring out on the board. And that character's got to be a lower points than what you got on the board right now. So it's a thing that's going to happen, and I didn't. There's been no rules that you can't attack that character, which really leaves those characters open to a bit of a beatdown and some extra.
Exactly. It's a question of, I mean, yeah, we're gonna have to see. They definitely in the last 2 sets, I feel that they've play tested more than they've ever done before. They're getting things down. They're getting it more structured. So hopefully they play tested this stuff. I mean, they say they're supposed to have like 50 something cards by the end of the year.
56, I believe, was the number. 55, 56, something like that.
I think it's 55, and then the 56th card is technically your stored giant card that you can put your face on, basically.
Probably. And I somebody broke it down. I believe it was a Dial H for Heroclix guys. I was listening to them yesterday. I think they actually broke it down. But 45 of them were very easily attainable.
Yes.
Like they're the ones that were part of the event system. That they're the giveaways. They're part of the what's the word I'm looking for? They're part of the Avengers Assemble set. They're part of the Nick Fury set. And then there's only 10 convention exclusive ones.
Exactly, which will be available at Nationals.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about our Nationals. There's been no noise about it. There's also supposed to be word bubbles, con-exclusive word bubbles. So
yeah, 5 word bubbles, 10 ID cards, as far as I've heard.
Yeah. What I've also heard about the ID cards is that they're really high quality plastic. Like they're almost credit card kind of build. So that's nice. I was expecting almost like a flimsy see-through plastic thing that I would just.
No, I'm excited. I'm gonna use all the duplicates to totally open up doors.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, my sideline. I mean, there's limitations, but the way I play my sideline is probably going to look like a Magic deck.
Just start shuffling it.
All right, which one do you want to play? Which one am I bringing out? I'm doing this, by the way. I just realized my camera made me look like I was doing it. Oh boy. Well, we've had you for about an hour, so thank you very much for joining us. What we're going to do now, I'm just going to do a quick check, see if anybody's asked any questions in the comment section below. While we're kind of setting up. Oh, well, what time does it start? An hour ago. Sorry.
That guy still deserves a brownie.
Yeah. What was it? Let's give him a name. KJ Foster. Sorry. I hope you're one of the viewers right now. Actually, as a matter of fact, thank you. The couple of years that we have joining us. Can you see if you can get him to break his NDA with WizKids? No! I don't do that.
I don't even have an NDA with WizKids, and I still won't break it if I did.
There's a respect level you kind of have to have, because if the other champ has had it, then kind of got to right?
Yeah, I never signed any paperwork from them, but I have nothing to break because I have no finalization for anything. There's no information. There is literally, I'm making a figure, they've said okay to the figure, and that's it. That's all I've got finalized.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, Kevin, thank you very much for joining us. I look forward to seeing your name show up in the headlines in more and more Heroclix tournaments, in the Rocks or Nationals or Worlds.
Thanks, man. I'll probably see I'll probably see your name more than mine, but yeah.
Oh, it's only because you follow my show. And of course, we'd like to thank the guys at Majestix, who Kevin also plays with, for all their promotional considerations. Thank you, fans, for watching, and we will see you guys next week with Kevin's partner in crime, hopefully, Patrick.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys. Have a good night.